Good evening, welcome to Vanguardian News. I'm your host, Mahfouz Al-Qadir, and I'm just coming in today just kind of reflecting on basically this whole lie and this whole, rebellious campaign led by President Trump regarding the results of the election, the presidential election this past November. And this continuance of this lie from Republicans that I've had some respect for, but it's really disappointing, basically, why they couldn't stand up to this man, to the president. And to go along and to stay silent and just to be complicit in this basically undermining American democracy and democracy throughout the world, for that matter, and to allow this lie to fester and to basically linger in the air and in the ethers of the air, and for court challenges and with no base, no other than, that he basically had sour grapes about the outcome of the election. I find it really surprising, this to conjure up and to go along with something that is so, by all accounts, just wasn't. It just wasn't necessary. I guess that's the best word I can come up with. It wasn't a necessity. It wasn't necessary. The American people had made their decision, and basically President Trump, you got fired. And so to prolong this with the poison plan that you came up with to say that, okay, I don't like the results of the election, so therefore, the whole American election system is rigged and it's a fraud and it's illegitimate. To throw that out there as a sitting president and not, majority of the Republican Party sat back and allowed this to just, become a thing, to continue for over a month. When you in the middle of a pandemic that's worsening, that's out of control, and to allow this attack on democracy to happen in the Senate, and Mitch McConnell stayed silent and really didn't have much of any type of commentary at all to lay claim to any prudence that President Trump had any shred of evidence. It was all double talk, and it was all just basically, just talking around the barn about nothing, indirect, gibberish. But you have a president that's attacking the integrity of your democracy, and his campaign, and his cohorts, and his lackeys, and his bootlickers. So I find it very interesting, if not appalling, that Republicans, look what just happened in the streets of Washington, D.C., just in Black Lives Matter Plaza, with the Trump supporters, and, basically just out there and just almost like a fascist regime, and just, just mayhem and just craziness. But over an election that's already been called. And so how do we tell these other countries that we're the model of democracy when you have a sitting president who's attacking and just basically taking a sledgehammer to that foundation of American democracy, and poisoning it and just basically crumbling it. And none of these Republicans, Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, your leadership of the Republican Party was silent and allowed this to go on. Don't want to upset the apple cart that Trump has with his 70 million voters and supporters, all, standing on the sideline, allowing this farce to continue, and just degrade the whole American system of governing, and the way we model ourselves as a country, and in which every vote is counted and the people make the decision. So basically, Trump was pretty much, in my eyes, in my opinion, somewhat, was infringing on what American people. He become an adversary, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing, especially from a sitting president who has lost the election. And this soft coup that he's continuing to allow his supporters to gather up steam and huff and puff and just desecrate the country is alarming. If nothing else, it's alarming. And you have elected officials in the Senate, in Congress, Republican Party, who basically, as far as I'm concerned, the ones who didn't speak out and stand up to the president, because that's what the president wants. He wants complete loyalty, blind loyalty to everything he does. And when that loyalty is questioned in his point of view, he goes into his Twitter, and he goes on Twitter and he make his displeasure known, and he puts you on, pretty much on full blast. And that's a different type of pressure for some of these elected officials that's in the Republican Party. They cannot deal with that, and so they become complicit. And 6 months from now, they will be leading another charge regarding something that they think that's un-American, as far as what their agenda is, as far as pushing democracy. And then they'll be, oh, well, it's a democracy and stuff like that. So just remember that when they push and huff and puff and stick their chests out and open their pie holes and put out gibberish and nothing of any integrity regarding democracy, and they'll push that to you and say, oh, this is democracy. How can you, this guy is un-American. Oh, please stop it. Not with this on your jacket, not with what President Trump is doing with these lawsuits and all this rebel rousing and all this type of stuff. So you guys will have to live with this on your jacket, on your resume, and you're going to have to embrace your president, President Trump, and his standing against American democracy and the voting process, and willing to throw out multi-millions of African American votes that voted correctly and voted for the candidate that they chose, and you want to just back up a trash truck and just throw out those votes to benefit you, so you can slide in to steal the election. I think it's appalling. Once again, I think it's very appalling. But that's just me. I'm not a radical. I'm just looking at it from my point of view and my take. reasonably and rationally. And I just think that's appalling. The act of going to court to undermine an election process, to call it the American democracy, and people who got out and vote for the first time, to just slap those people in the face and to say that their votes were illegitimate was just a crime to me. But, you know, nothing surprised me about President Trump. He's not going to go out easily. He's going to be who he is. So stay tuned for more regarding him in the upcoming weeks, up until 12/01, January 20th, 2021. Take care, folks.